You were upset. Maybe an argument, maybe just a hard day pressing down on you in the kitchen. And your dog, who had been lying quietly nearby, lifted their head, looked at you, and yawned. A long, slow, jaw-wide yawn. You probably smiled, maybe said something like, "Am I boring you?" and went back to whatever was making you feel bad. Why dogs yawn when their owners are upset is something most people have noticed and almost nobody has correctly explained. It gets filed under cute or coincidence and then forgotten. But that yawn was neither of those things. It was a deliberate signal, one with a specific biological origin, a specific social function, and a specific cost to the animal that produced it. What your dog did in that moment was more considered than almost anything else they do. The easy explanation is that dogs yawn when they're tired or bored, the same way humans do. And that's sometimes true. A dog waking from a nap yawns. A dog waiting too long for a walk yawns. But behaviorists noticed something that didn't fit. Dogs yawn with much higher frequency in the presence of stressed or distressed humans than in any other context. Not at other dogs who are stressed, not in response to loud noises or sudden movements, which are more natural triggers for anxiety. Specifically, reliably, in response to human emotional distress. The pattern was too consistent to be coincidence. And when researchers began to look at what was happening in the dog's body during these yawns, at the hormonal level, at the neurological level, they found something that changes what that quiet moment in your kitchen actually was. Your dog was not bored. They were working. The scientific framework that explains this is called calming signals, a term introduced by Norwegian dog trainer and behaviorist Rugaas in the 1990s, and since validated by ethological research across multiple institutions. Rugaas documented over 30 distinct behaviors that dogs use to reduce tension in social situations: yawning, lip-licking, turning the head away, blinking slowly, sniffing the ground, moving in curves rather than straight lines. These signals, she argued, are not random. They are a communication system. They are used between dogs to prevent conflict and de-escalate aggression. And dogs direct them at humans, too. A 2019 study published in PLOS ONE by researchers at the University of Pisa confirmed that dogs use calming signals specifically in response to human stress cues, and that the yawn is among the most frequently deployed. Your dog yawned at you because they were trying to help. What makes this more than an interesting behavioral footnote is what the yawn actually does physiologically. In the dog producing it, yawning triggers a cascade. The jaw stretch activates the vagus nerve, which runs from the brainstem through the chest and abdomen. Vagus nerve activation promotes parasympathetic nervous system activity, the system responsible for the rest and digest state, the counterbalance to fight or flight. The dog is, in a measurable sense, trying to shift its own nervous system toward calm, and by producing the yawn visibly in your direction, offering you the same invitation. The signal is simultaneously self-regulating and communicative. It is the dog managing its own state while modeling an alternative state for you. This has been documented across multiple species, but the specificity with which domestic dogs target humans with it is, researchers note, remarkable. Something deeper is underneath this behavior. That something deeper is emotional contagion. The capacity to catch the feelings of another individual, not just read them, but physically experience them, was once thought to be uniquely human. The research of the past 2 decades has dismantled that assumption steadily. A landmark study from the University of London, published in Biology Letters in 2008, found that dogs yawn contagiously in response to human yawns at a rate significantly above chance. Not videos of yawns, not recordings, live human yawns in the room, produced by a familiar person. The dogs caught the yawn. And subsequent research found something more specific. Contagious yawning in dogs is stronger with familiar humans than with strangers. The dog doesn't just catch yawns from any human. They catch them preferentially from the people they are attached to, which means the contagion is not just reflexive, it is relational.
The relational dimension matters because it connects to what researchers now call emotional contagion in dogs, the measurable transfer of emotional states between humans and their dogs through a combination of chemical, behavioral, and neurological channels. A study published in Scientific Reports in 2019 by researchers at Linköping University in Sweden found that dogs and their owners show synchronized cortisol levels over time, the same stress hormone rising and falling in parallel. Dogs living with chronically stressed owners show chronically elevated cortisol. The synchronization is stronger in dogs with high scores on attachment measures. Your dog is not merely reading your stress from the outside, they are carrying it inside their body. The yawn in this context is not just a signal, it is a symptom. Your dog yawned because something in them shifted when you became upset.
This is the part that changes how you sit with what happened in the kitchen. The yawn was not indifference. It was not a failure to understand what you were going through. It was evidence of the opposite. Evidence that your emotional state had been registered at a level deep enough to produce a physiological response in another creature. And evidence that the creature registering it chose to respond with a signal specifically designed to reduce tension. Not flight, not freeze, not an attempt to remove itself from the discomfort. A calming signal directed at you. The 2019 University of Pisa study noted that dogs show calming signals toward humans significantly more in high-stress contexts than in neutral ones, and that the yawn specifically appears at moments of greatest human emotional intensity. Your dog waited until the moment it was most needed, and then offered the one thing in their vocabulary that means, "I am here. It is all right." There is a second finding inside the cortisol synchronization research that deserves to sit with you for a moment. The Linköping study found that the direction of influence runs primarily from human to dog, not the other way. Your dog's stress levels tend to mirror yours, but your stress levels don't tend to mirror your dog's. You set the emotional tone of the household. Your dog lives inside that tone. If you carry sustained anxiety, the low-level chronic kind that doesn't announce itself dramatically, your dog is likely carrying an elevated cortisol baseline as a result. Your researchers described the dog as unusually sensitive to long-term owner personality and stress levels, not just acute distress, long-term patterns. The animal in your home is being shaped, biochemically, by the emotional weather you create without meaning to.
This is not a cause for guilt. It is a cause for attention, because the same sensitivity that makes your dog absorb your stress also makes them extraordinarily responsive to its reduction. Dogs in households where owners actively practice emotional regulation, where the baseline cortisol in the home is lower, show measurably lower cortisol themselves. The research group at Linköping found that the cortisol synchronization works in both directions in the short term. Moments of calm are also shared. Your dog's nervous system is in ongoing conversation with yours. The calming signal is part of that conversation. When your dog yawns at you in a difficult moment, they are not only trying to soothe you, they are also trying to reestablish the baseline they function best in. The signal is in their interest as much as yours. You were in the kitchen. The argument or the bad day or the weight of something you hadn't named yet was in the room with you, and your dog lifted their head and yawned. You know now what was in that yawn. You know that their cortisol had risen in response to yours, that something in their body had shifted when something in your body shifted, across the room, without a word spoken between you. You know that the yawn was a calming signal, a tool developed over thousands of years of dog social communication, extended to you because you are the most important social relationship in their world. You know that they were not bored, they were not tired, they were present, fully, biochemically, neurologically present, and they were doing the one thing available to them to make the moment easier.
Dogs cannot tell you when they are worried about you. They cannot say that they noticed the tension in your shoulders, or that they clocked the change in your voice, or that they have been monitoring your cortisol for months without you knowing. They cannot tell you that what looks like indifference
lying across the room, not following you from space to space, staying in their corner, is sometimes the opposite of indifference. It is a dog who has read the room and decided that the most useful thing they can do is be calm and present without adding to the noise. The yawn is the moment that strategy becomes visible. It is the tip of a communication that has been running beneath the surface of every day you have spent together. They have always been paying attention. To you specifically, more than you knew. If this changed how you read that moment, the yawn, the quiet, the dog who looked at you and then looked away, then the next video on this channel follows another signal you've probably dismissed without meaning to. It covers what happens in your dog's body when you cry. Not what they do in response, what happens inside them at the hormonal level before they've done anything at all. The research there goes further than this one. The link is just above. And the next time your dog yawns near you, especially in a moment that costs you something, stay with it for a second before you move on. They noticed. They always notice.